It's high and it's piled up, right? Snow that is piled high begins to move. Snow that is piled high begins to move. Okay, everybody, did you write that in? Everyone write that in their organizer? Snow that is piled high begins to move. So, what is the effect then? What happens when it begins to move? Check your passage. Slabs as big as cars will break free and begin to slide down the mountain. These slabs pick up speed as they move. Now the avalanche has started. What do you think? Any hands? Anybody? What is the effect when snow that is piled high gets disturbed and moves and begins to move? Okay, Isaiah.
It causes an avalanche.
Okay, let's write our effect. An avalanche begins.
Hello?
I am also known as
Okay. It's like, yes, it is like that. So I'm going to do sequence for you. So what I'm going to do first is read the passage out loud for you. That's what it's all about, reading. Then I'm going to model for you how to summarize what I've read, what you've read, making sure that I use good sequence, which is the order that events happen in the passage. Okay? So, read along silently with me. Jet Li takes off. Making action movies is easy for Jet Li. That's because he's been kicking and punching and jumping since he was a boy in China. Jet began wushu classes when he was 8 years old. Wushu is a martial arts form in China. At wushu school, Jet and his fellow students had to wake up at 6 every morning. They practiced 8 hours almost every day. Once, Jet had a broken foot, but he still had to train. He sat on the field and did arm exercises all day. All that training has paid off. Jet became a national wushu champion. Then he started acting in Chinese action movies. These days, Jet is making American movies. He uses wushu moves to whoosh across the screen. And movie audiences love to watch. So now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, after you've read a passage, you very often have to summarize it, right? Tell what it's about, either by writing a summary or verbally telling a summary. So it's important to use good sequence, okay? Putting things in order. So I have my notes here. And I'm going to use this graphic organizer to help me keep all of my ideas in order. I'm going to go back to the passage and reread again if I have to. So first, I'm going to look back at the passage and look back at the first paragraph, probably reread it again, and think about what's the main idea. So in that first paragraph, what does it tell me about? What's the main idea? It tells me that Jet Li does what? Makes action movies. So that's what I'm going to write.
Right, it's the reason why it happens. So, it's why did...
Now I'm going to go to the next paragraph, and I'm probably going to reread it again. And once again, I'm going to think, what's the main idea? What's the first main idea, and maybe what's the last main idea. Maybe I need 2 parts to this. So I reread it, and I decided that the first part of this paragraph tells me that he's been doing this for a long time. And he started when he was how old? 8.
But what is their problem? Why are they doing all that?
They travel really quickly. They can be fast and fast, and they're elegant. They can pack the force of 200 pounds of dynamite. Their avalanche is likely when they are all piled up in
Okay, so what would be a problem? What's up there?
Okay? Then at the end of the paragraph, it tells me a little bit more about him. It tells me that he's been doing this over and over and over again. What's that called when you do something over and over and over again?
Right. People are destroying their houses.
Okay.
Practice. He's been practicing and practicing and practicing until he grew up.
But the snow on the mountain, what has to happen to that snow for the avalanche to go? It has to get wet. It can be that. That's describing the snow. Anyone can help out?
And the last paragraph, I'll reread it again, just so I know I'm very familiar with it. And then I'll come up with the main idea, not adding a whole lot of detail.
What is an Easter?
And what I've decided to write about is that, and finally, he became a Chinese champion and then has gone on to be in action movies.
So people are destroying their homes. How do the animals solve that problem on the mountain? How do you solve that problem?
Especially if you
Look at the day. My home down in your house.
Okay, so let's write down in the call.
Wushu, never heard of that. My son took Capito.
That's different.
I like Capito.
So I used sequence. I went back, I looked, and I put all of the facts in order after I summarized, leaving out some of the details. Not all the details, but a lot of the extra details. I just want to summarize. I don't want to give away every item. Okay? Now this is an example of one type of graphic organizer you could use. I made it very simple. It's a short passage, but certainly if you had a longer passage, you could make it much longer. You could have first, next, 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 then, and finally. At the bottom, I've also written down some other transition words that can be clues as you're reading that help you understand the sequence of the passage.